Philia, you're still in town. You ran away from the cleaners that Doris works at, your new friend.
Mhm.
And what are you doing in town? You know, it is starting to get like a little closer to nighttime, so.
If while I was in town, just walking around, did I happen to notice anyone selling chickens or anything?
Mm, just like, just selling chickens off the side. Okay,
What,
let's.
show prep.
I would say there was a farmer's market stand, like, kind of like on the outside of town, like right on the edge, where they have like fruits, some veggies that are like barely, hardly anything. It's not like overabundance or anything. And they have a couple of chickens.
All right. Well, with my winnings from the bar, if it was enough, I'd get two. If not, just one.
I think you're able to get two. That's fine. They hand you the baskets that hold the chickens in.
And then I'd look around and see are there any kids out now, or are they all at home for supper?
I would say that you're not seeing anybody within town, but you do see that there are sort of like some families heading off to the church,
Hmm.
like by foot, and some people in cars. And the church is on your way to the carnival grounds.
Right. Okay, so I'll start heading towards the carnival and see if I notice anyone who's seems to be down and out and not heading to church.
I want to say there is like a small family who's kind of looks like they're hard, and the the depression hit them quite a bit. That they're dirty, they're really skinny from not being able to be fed well. That are sort of, it looks like they're kind of like hitchhiking in
Mm-hmm.
from town or into town. So probably like y'all are passing each other on the side of the road. And it's looks like a man, probably in his late 30s, a woman probably like in her early 30s, that, and then like two kids who are about like 5 and 8 or so.
Sure. Then I guess I'll just before they pass up, I'll just grab their attention. I was like, oh, hey, excuse me. Do y'all happen to be from around here by any chance?
I think the children sort of like hide behind the parents just because they're shy, and because stranger danger. I think the wife sort of just nods, and the husband's like, "Yeah, we come and go from this area. We're pretty, we know pretty well."
Oh, by any chance, would you happen to know where Doris's mother lives? I had some chickens I was supposed to deliver for after.
Oh, yes, Doris. Oh, yes, the sweet girl from the cleaners that I've run into a few times. Yeah, she lives. Their house is not too far from here actually. I think it's they're down that road a bit.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it's the White House on the left.
I have some left. Okay. Let's see if I have any change left from
Yeah.
buying the chickens and I hand it over to them. Just like y'all seem to be going through some, so just this little something I have. You know,
Oh, bless you. I appreciate it.
I appreciate your help as well. And then I'm assuming I don't have enough time to go down the dirt road and then make it to the carnival in time as well.
I would say if you do it, you're cutting it really close. Gloria will be a little mad because
Yeah,
she wants all her performers there right before, so they're ready to go.
yeah. I'd rather not incur the wrath of Gloria, so I will head to the carnival at this point.
Okay, chickens in tow. Yeah, and I think as you're passing and as you're walking down the road back towards the carnival, and as you're passing the church, and the church you can see is lit up from the inside because there's people starting to gather, and you see the last bit of stragglers go in. As out of the corner of your eye, you just see this woman with red hair sort of just pass you and go into the church, and it looks like she's coming like out from the cornfields. But I guess since you're so focused, maybe you notice. I don't know. Would you notice somebody?
From the cornfields, maybe I'd think of it as odd, but I'm odd myself, so
Valid, and I think that's where we'll leave you. As Liliana steps onto the ground, where it looks like it's a lush field, her foot sinks and this red liquid comes up. And at first you're like, oh, what is that? And then you're like, oh, I know what that is. A whole bunch of blood.
Okay, so I recognize it as blood. Does it smell coppery? I think Liliana is absolutely more intrigued than afraid. I don't think there's any like fear or disgust. I think she's more intrigued. I'm going to put my other foot in.
It's also going to soft dirt. It's going to sink in a
Okay.
bit, and there's going to be some blood as well.
Thetis takes one of the corn cobs and chucks it as far as she can into the circle.
Yeah, it goes probably like halfway to the middle of the circle and just like bounces a bit, and it's not really like sinking in because there's not much weight to a corn cob, but you do see as it's rolling, it is picking up like remnants of like blood or some red stains to it as it's rolling on the ground.
I think Edie will go run after the corn. It's chucked and it lands, and I look at everybody else. I'm like, "Oh, you want me to retrieve it?" in my head, and I go out there, like not even like thinking about it. Yeah, I see the blood, but I gotta get that corn. That's good corn.
Yeah, you go in. It's the squelching of wet mud.
Oh god! Yeah,
and you grab the corn and
yeah. Does it have blood on it?
Yeah, so it's not like it's like covered in blood, but like whenever you're bleeding and like you wipe your hand off and like you hit something back, and it's like the rub off blood.
I hold the corn up and I wave it, but then also I'm going to take the time to look around out here, like after I wave it around and be like, "Yeah, I got it, guys." I suppose it's
keep an eye out.
Keep an eye out, yeah. Which I think we're all really great at this. I think I have a negative in Guile. Yeah, I do. So I rolled a 3.
I'm sorry.
It just looks like to you, it just looks like some sprouts are just forming in this nice fertile grounds.
Okay, I run right back to Thetis. Here's your corn. I brought it back.
Did you see anything?
Everything is fine out there. It's just a little bit wet and sloppy. I don't know.
Okay, Liliana would like to look around.
That's fair. Go ahead.
Okay. I got +1, a 9.
Yeah, you did a thing.
I did a thing.
On a 7 and 9, ask 1. And then you also take a +1 forward on the answers you find.
Yeah. What dark truth is hidden here?
So as you're looking around, and are you moving further in, or are you just kind of just staying where you are?
No, I think she takes like 3 or 4 steps in so she can do a circle. You know what I mean? Okay. Like turn around in a circle and really try to see if there's anything out there.
Yeah, I think so. As you move in and you start looking around, and the ground is just squelching underneath you with moist soil, you look and you see, and at first glance, like how Edie looked, it looks pretty normal, but something catches your eye underneath just one of the little sproutlings to the left.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go over and take a look and kneel down, it does look like there is a bit of finger arching out. Just
like an index finger. Just
a
little.
Just and it looks like it's been detached from the rest of its body by a clean cut. But on the sides of the finger itself, like on the little edgings, it does look like there's some sort of design or inscription carved into the flesh.
Oh, okay. What does it say?
You don't know the language.
Oh, it's a different language. I mean, I pull it out of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Do I see anything else?
As you're looking in now, you do see various other lumps and bumps in the dirt.
Okay.
That are sort of like circling that whole perimeter.
I'm going to turn around, and so I'm going to do 2 things if it's okay.
Okay.
I'm going to absolutely start uncovering these lumps, but I also want to see if anyone else in the group knows the language. So I'm going to turn around and underhand toss the finger to Marquetta and say, "Do you know what this language is?" And then turn around immediately and start looking for what else is in the dirt. Maybe not with my hands. I gestured, with my hands, but maybe we're gonna start with my feet. Like I'll just kind of uncover
kick things
dirt.
around.
Yeah, I don't want to just like plunge my hands in and pull up a head. I'd rather use my feet first, I think. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Liliana's
fair.
not scared, but she also doesn't want to get covered in blood before the show. Marquetta, do you catch the finger that I toss at you?
I do. I do catch the finger. I guess, do I need to roll to see if I know this language?
Yeah, give me a keep out an eye out for trouble, just so we can see how much information you get.
A 5.
I could take a look at it. I could try and read it.
Okay, and Marquetta tosses it
Yes.
to Edie.
I miss it. I try, but I miss it. It hits the ground, and then I pick it up, and then also I'm gonna try to keep an eye out for trouble.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
I'm trying to read it. Like
Mhm.
I'm
No.
trying to be
I
helpful.
understand. That's I'm just like I'm like, oh boy, this crowd.
I also got a 5.
I'm just gonna go ahead and start rolling now.
Hurry, toss
Yeah.
it to Thetis. Toss it to
Toss it to
Thetis.
Thetis. Put it in the
Thetis.
soup. Put it in the soup.
Oh, you're
Ah!
true, fetus. Alley-oop.
So someone at the carnival might be familiar with that, or we're probably going to have to take this to Mother.
Got a 9.
9. Yeah. Finally.
I'm not from here.
All right. So Thetis, first off, so 9 means basically you get a +1 forward on the answers you found, and then on 7 and 9, ask 1 question.
What dark truth is hidden here? I guess because I want to be able to read it.
You said you're not from here. Which parts of the world are you from? Have you been to?
So I'm from the Mediterranean.
Then I think if that's the case, Latin that you're reading and seeing.
It says from life for life.
What does that mean, Thetis?
I think what it's saying is that from one life force, if you take that, you can create something new. So these dead bodies are giving us new crops.
Resourceful.
It's recycling.
Recycling.
But isn't that
Yes, it's
wrong?
a new cycle.
Well, it depends on where the bodies are coming from. Am I seeing anything else? I'm guessing I see other body parts, but
yeah,
I don't
other
want to.
fingers, a toe, a foot. And then there's a particularly large lump that you start uncovering that's starting to show like half the face. Like, yeah.
Do I recognize it?
I mean, it does look very similar to the little girl, like the same, like blonde-haired sort of.
Okay.
We assume it's Betty.
We assume.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a young woman, like who's 18 or so.
Okay.
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 So what we have here is people being used as fertilizer.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't mind if it was the elderly or the sick, but this one's particularly young and went missing recently, which is concerning.
It doesn't explain the blood. The blood.
Maybe it's a lot. There's like been a lot of people going missing.
Was there anything in common about the people going missing?
Well, when I was in town earlier, there was a lot of posters put up for missing girls, and they all looked, I don't know, 16, 18-ish to like mid-20s, I guess. But they're all girls.
Well, that's
Of
not
course.
okay. I mean, why couldn't they get rid of the men?
Agreed.
Well, it might be time to make Mother aware of what's happening here.
I agree. We should definitely tell her.
It certainly would affect the numbers coming in.
Well, and our proximity to this field is not going to be good
No.
for us.
Yeah, I don't want to get blamed for killing a bunch of women and to make them grow food from their dead bodies.
Not again.
I mean, at the very least, if someone's going to die, the lion should benefit from it.
We can take them back the finger, but I feel like that's not enough sustenance for them.
It's not worth it.
Okay. Well, we should take it back anyway to show Mother. I hate to leave the young woman here.
She's already buried.
True, and if people come tonight and it's discovered, we will, of course, be blamed. So it might be best to leave everything here except the finger and head back. Do we all agree?
I agree. Let's get out of here.
Y'all know where her wagon is, so y'all walk over. The door is still open. You see her starting to polishing her swords that she's going to be swallowing later. And just to bring narrative in, I think this is when Philphilia walks back into the carnival.
Hey yo, I'm back from town. Anything exciting happened while I was gone?
Exciting? No.
okay.
Interesting? Yes.
Oh, do tell.
Ooh, we toss him the finger. Them the finger.
Yes.
Do you catch it?
Please.
Does Philphilia
Yes.
catch it?
Philphilia
And it-
sniffing it.
I started smelling it. Does it have an odor to it or not really?
Not it's not a decayed order as yet because it's still extremely fresh, but it has the copper smells of like blood.
Not quite rotten enough for me. I toss it back.
But the interesting thing is there are more. So we are going to make Mother aware.
And a field of blood.
Oh, and it's not our fault, right?
Not
Yeah.
that we're aware of.
Oh.
Marquetta blows smoke in Philphilia's face.
Just give my kid a knowing look.
Edie giggles.
I'm just saying, because it wouldn't be the first time.
I mean,
Might not be the last either.
I suppose it could have been someone here, but it was not any of us, at least not that I'm aware of.
Like what? One of the Johnnies?
I mean, I suppose they've been too busy today.
As if a Johnny could do that.
Well, and then these bodies have been here for longer than we've been here.
It's
that-
unlikely to be us, but we would be blamed for it.
Sure.
We
Too
found
fun
out.
for one of the Johnnies.
Statistically, one of them could be a little off. It's, we're a carnival. But it's just, this one is not on us.
So yeah, that's what's been going on here, Phil. Well, how was making your new friend? How'd that go?
Oh, you made a friend.
Oh, not too bad. We chatted for a bit. They're real nice. I think you'd like them.
Mm-hmm.
Will we
Did you
be
learn
able to
anything
meet
interesting
them?
about the town or that other person you were following, the father that I was trying to help you with, but apparently he didn't want my help?
Just that he may be visiting my friend later tonight as well. So I might have to join them for some fun festivities. More friends.
Interesting that you made so many friends in this town.
Right? It's almost like it's really easy for me to make friends.
Edie, darling, you seem upset.
Oh, it's nothing. No, nothing. Not a problem. I'm fine. Just completely fine. We should talk to Mother.
Okay. Phil, would you like to come with us, or do you need to get ready since you were playing all day?
Oh, I've got most of my prep done. Just holding my chickens.
Oh dear, chickens again.
I mean, not all towns have them.
It is rather impressive.
Edith throws one of the corn cobs that she hid in the barrel, or in her wheelbarrow at Philphilia.
That's make a good prop, I guess. How many people eat cobs of corn whole?
I don't believe I've seen it before.
I'll try that tonight. Can't be that hard, right?
Not for you.
Yeah, and Mother is Gloria sitting on the steps, polishing the sword that she's gonna be swallowing later. So she just getting into that ritual of getting ready and prepping, and she looks up at you and sort of gives a nod and a smile. She's like, "What's going on?"
Hello, we found something that we wanted to bring to your attention. And instead of tossing the finger as we have been around, I think that discreetly Liliana shows it to her.
Do you hand it to her or just show her?
I think she it sounds weird, but almost like presenting it to her so Gloria can either take it or leave it.
I think
but
she holds
can
her
always
hand out.
see
Like
it.
once she sees how small it is, she'll just hold
Okay.
her hand out.
So then
for it.
Liliana will give it to her.
And she holds it. Even if she presents different to all five of you, for a brief second, you see there's like her eyes sort of like glow red just for a bit.
Hmm.
And this isn't the first time you've seen it happen.
Okay.
It either happens like when she's super angry or she's trying to read something sort of intense, like
Okay.
intensely. So just something that happens on occasion. Just,
Okay.
Yeah.
That we're aware of, that I'm aware of at least.
Yeah, that all y'all are aware
All
of.
of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because y'all know she's not normal. She's not a
Yeah.
yeah.
She might be more of a humanoid than a
Yeah,
human.
you know. And she's reading it and she's looking it over. She's like, no. Huh. Haven't come across one of these in a while. And she hands it back.
There are more, and too close for comfort.
That's what usually happens. I mean, it's a dying town. I guess they're trying to do what they can to save themselves, you know?
Yes,
But
and that's well and good. We just don't want to be blamed for it.
I'll handle it if there's any blame coming our way.
Do you need us to do anything?
Just go ahead and get ready. She looks up at the sky and she's sort of seeing the sun starting to slowly set. It's almost showtime.
May I ask one more question? I think Liliana asks that because she's almost dismissing them. And so Liliana wants to inquire something a little bit, which is a little bit out of character for her. Normally, I think she would just follow suit.
Okay.
So
I think Gloria looks up and she's like, yes. Go ahead.
Have you come across this before?
Not in recent times, but I have in the past.
And you don't want us to do anything about it?
And if she pauses and thinks for a second, my only concern is that if we stay here long enough and she looks at the five of you and then her eyes land on Edie, someone might disappear from our group. Because Edie's right in the age range, right?
Yes.
Well, we won't let that happen.
So if we come across it, maybe we should stop it so we don't lose anybody from our group, from our family.
Understood. We'll protect our own. Liliana has the finger. I think she just turns to go.
Before leaving, Phil's just like, "Hey, Mom, look, I got chickens for the show."
Good. We always love a good chicken show. Really brings the crowd in.
Yeah, it'll be a good one tonight. All right, I'm gonna go prepare.
Okay, you do that.
I think before Edie leaves the tent, she'll look at Mother and go, should I be concerned? Should I prepare myself for something? Do you think?
And she looks at you, and you know your perception of her is like this very very warm, motherly, maternal person, and she's just smiles sweetly, and she's like, "No, you shouldn't have to prepare yourself for anything if it can be stopped in time. Hopefully, they won't look to our group for more means."
If you say so, I'll go get ready now.
Okay, thank you.
And I think I want her to leave, like Edie's leaving, but like we'll stop by the kitchen and get a knife.
Fair.
And then go get ready for get the tent set up and everything.
Marquetta's gonna go spruce up her lions and then get ready.
Thetis sets up Frosha. She just goes about polishing her shiny new locket. That's all.
All right.
Then goes back to brushing her hair.
Nighttime has fallen over Briceville, Tennessee, and typically, as you're looking out to the town itself, it's pretty quiet. You can hear the cicadas chirping off in the distance. But as the camera sort of pans over the crops towards an unusual brightness coming from the middle of the cornfields, and from the distance, you see the little Ferris wheel just starting to go about. And as we get closer, the audience, get closer to it, see that it's the big lights of the carnival are starting to go off. As the camera pans in, it sort of lands on the gentleman that's on a box outside of the gate itself, just across the entryway from the hawker who's trying to like lure people in and like welcome people to the show and stuff. And the hawker gives this man some side eye as he's there. The George, as you all know, Worthington, looks like he's been well fed, taken care of. His hair in a nicely cut and kept way. And he is doing some sort of swallowing acts in the front, sort of drawing people in, trying to bring them as well as like a little hat out front to like people to toss him some money to tip him. And as you all know, George just pretty much gives it back to the carnival because he just wants to be accepted. And as we move into the carnival itself, the noises and the smells and the lights, it's just all chaos. It's people chattering, hawkers trying to sell the games or like bring people into the tents for a show. The smells of the cooked foods from the little like food court area with the popcorns and the hot dogs and what else there is sort of lingers in the air. The lights from everything hanging off the tents, illuminating the signs of each of the shows, coming off the Ferris wheel and other sort of the merry-go-round that's been around for a while. And yeah, we have people who are out in front or maybe can't be in a tent because their acts are just too dangerous. Like, for example, Gloria with her fire breathing. And as that sort of stands like on the stand near the entranceway and just the looks like she's drinking quote unquote something from a bottle before she sticks her torch up and blows it, but you know that bottle's empty. We all know that bottle's empty. and it does look like that you can see like the glow from the inside of her throat come out as she's forcing the fire out in the round of applause. Another people who aren't really intense is the Joyce the contortionist. He was in town earlier with y'all, showing off her moves. Dr. Phantasmic also has his own tent as I pass by, and he can hear his like deep voice coming in from as the tent flap opens as you walk by of, yes, I can see into your mind. Angel and Pearl are on a stage kind of like centralized as they are sort of moving statues that are slowly playing out a scene. And people will come and go and watch. And little children will look for a second and just say, they're not real. And then they move just ever so slightly and they're like, ah, and they run off. There's squeals of delight happening throughout the areas. But as we move to the tents itself, let's start looking to see what each of you are doing tonight.
I think Edie's act is probably the more simple acts because she doesn't really have a lot of skill herself in other things and performing. And really her main attraction is just that she kind of looks like a dog, right? Like she has a hairy face. And so she really plays that up. So as the camera goes into the tent, there are chairs and there's a little stage, a little raised area. And I think it's like show times, it's kind of like, people come in, they sit, they wait, and then the show comes on. And there is a spotlight in the middle of the stage or like candlelight or whatever in the middle of the stage. But when they come in and everybody gets settled, it goes off. And then there is a long punctuated howl. And then when the lights come back on, she's just sitting there. Because she doesn't really know what else to do. Like, I think, like, background story, I think there's probably been lots of times where it's like, Edie, come on, like, you gotta
do something.
You have to do other things. And she's just really, it doesn't have that showmanship skill. She doesn't really know. And so I think what she ends up doing, she's sitting there and because she has no input from like other people, she doesn't really know how to behave on this. It's very awkward. Like, it's so sad.
Oh no! Oh, poor Edie.
And she's sitting there, and like her hair's all been combed, and you know, like how they put bows in Yorkies. So she's got like a little bow in her beard, and her hair's got bows in it, and like she'll sit there, and she'll like kind of like turn and like try to look good,
Like model.
yeah, kind of like modeling and showing off her look, because again, she doesn't want to show her true monster side. Like it's her whole battle, right? Like she doesn't really want to show that. The howl is like the really like the only like unsettling thing. So yeah, she's sitting there kind of doing this and that, and I'm okay if like people heckled me, like if that's a thing that is what happens, because I really am just on display right now, kind of anticlimactic, which is kind of Edie anyway. So
Oh no! Oh, Edie. Okay. The camera stays in there a bit longer, just watching, and I think as Edie starts on all fours walking around, or
it's, I mean, if she gets a reaction from people, yeah, like
okay,
100%. So yeah.
yeah, I think on all fours walking around. The camera sort of, scoots out and starts going to the next one. And where are we going? Where are we taking the viewers?
The camera leaves Edie's tent and pans over several other tents and gets to an all red tent with an eye on the top of it, of like a cutout cloth of an eye. And we follow two like middle-aged women into the tent, and we see Liliana sitting at a round table that is covered in black cloth, and on the table and also behind her are several pieces of cloth and candles that light the area. There are cards, a stack of tarot cards, and a crystal ball, and a dish that has what appears to be like bones in it, that the customers will choose how they want to get their fortune read. They can also have their palms read. We see that one of the women sits down, and it appears there's smiles and appears that everything is going well. And then the second sister sits down, or the second woman sits down, and we just cut to them running out of the tent, and this second woman is just in tears as she leaves. And then we go back in, and we see that Liliana is sitting there and smiling.
Yeah, and I think the camera sort of is sort of like peeking in from the door, seeing this, and then sort of just starts scooting on past to another tent.
Right next door is Thetis's tent. So pulling back from Liliana's and not traveling all too far next door to a deep blue tent, going in through the doors, we find a tank with Thetis sitting in it, kind of luxuriating over the edge of it, like a modern person would lean out of the edge of a hot tub, with her long hair kind of flowing out of that, almost reaching to the ground. It's so long. And she's really not doing much of anything. It's just kind of there. Her act is very much just her on display. There are chairs set up, and there are a few gentlemen just sitting there kind of staring, their mouths completely agape. Every so often she'll flick her tail and splash some water in their direction. If she's feeling particularly playful, she might engage one of them in a conversation, but the conversation is usually very, very stunted because really they don't have anything much to say back to her. She will try to be playful about it, but she doesn't really get much reaction back out of them because there's not a whole lot that they have in response. So honestly, show nights are very, very boring for Thetis.
I think the viewer sits down and observes this, and then once again flicked with water, sort of like gets up and walks out and heads to another tent.
Yeah, we'll head on over to the mesmerizing Marquetta's tent, which has a faded green tent. It used to be like very vibrant, but it's a little on the older side. They come in, and there's a central ring where they've got different props set up, and when they see Marquetta, she is very different looking than what you would normally see her just looked at. She's let her long hair like flow down. She's got the top pinned up so it's out of her face, but it's definitely long and flowing. She's got this bright green crushed velvet blazer, and then kind of like this corseting underneath. She's very dominatrix style with black leather lace-up boots, and not so like they're probably you in the 30s. These would probably be riding pants. So she's wearing pants, which is also whoa, lady in pants, whoa. But you know, she's dealing with her lions, and so she has her lions come in like one. She'll show up with one lion, and then she'll kind of have another lion sneak in through the audience, and just kind of be amongst the crowd to kind of unsettle them. And then she'll have them do things like jump through hoops and create a little small pyramid because there's 3 of them. And she'll have them, you know, she'll ask if, you know, is anyone brave enough to face off against the lion, and put, you know, have one of the lions put their face into the person's face. And she'll play games like that with the crowd.
Thetis eats this up, by the way. She has occasionally asked one of the Johnnies to take her over and hide her in the audience because she adores Marquetta's serious side. She is absolutely in love with her more hardened look.
And she makes the Johnnies who work her tent wear green velvet waistcoats. So, like, you know which Johnnies are working her tent because they have a uniform.
They have a look.
There's a look. She doesn't know which Johnny's which, but if they're wearing the coat, they're working for her that day.
Yeah. And I think the camera sort of sees all this and, like, notices it. And then I think there's a big, like, huff right in the ear of the viewer. And, you know, it's first person, so, like, this is
Sure.
so they get caught off guard and they turn and there's a lion right there, like in their face. Which one would it be usually?
I'm gonna say that's Zira, the playful one. That's the most playful one.
Yeah, so Zira's like there and sort of just gives like a little boop and just keeps walking. And the camera gets up and leaves and then heads off to Philia's tent.
Philia's tent is a pink and black tent that's, I wouldn't say next to the food aisles, but definitely like 1 or 2 tents removed. Outside the tent, you have one of the Johnnies who is like taking tickets, taking bets, because there's a sign in front that says "Beat the Geek" or "Win double the ticket price," last the whole show, 4 times the ticket price, and it says "Last one standing." And it's 10 times the ticket price. And as you enter in, there's a bunch of wooden bench seats with just buckets lined up where each person can sit. And it's on the stage. There's 2 chairs. It's a table with a nice tablecloth. It looks like it would be an English breakfast kind of setting, except everything is kind of dingy and torn and whatnot. And you have like moldy bread set up where the sandwiches would be. Everything is set up for what looks like a tea time.
Yeah, so I think people are starting to slowly come in for the show, and I think since we are just doing yours a bit, let's go ahead and see how the crowd is tonight. So go ahead and give me a roll of D6.
It's a 4.
4? Okay, yeah, I think the crowd is pretty good. It's pretty full. It's a full tent for the show. It looks like a bunch of adults because I think you have a no child policy. Is that right in your tent, or is it
It'd be a little cruel to try and subject them to this.
If children sneak in, that's on their own endeavor, right?
Indeed. Then they probably won't last long.
Exactly. So yeah, it's a bunch of I think it's mainly men that are coming in to sit in because they're like, oh yeah, I can beat this, I can handle anything. And some women are like, oh, maybe I can, we'll see. Like sort of situation and everybody's sitting in, and I think you're starting up with, I guess, the moldy bread act, right? That's where you sort of start.
No, it's more of a performance, you know. It's like you see Philia come out in like a very torn up, what could be a facsimile of maybe a Victorian-ish dress, you know, and they sit down, they're pouring the teapot, but there's nothing in there. They're like, you know, then they open up and they look around for any water, they don't anything. Then they grab a chicken. First thing they do is they grab a chicken from under the table and immediately chop its head off. And then while it's still wiggling, they pour the blood into the teapot, toss the still moving carcass into the crowd, and they pour it into the teacup and, you know, start gingerly sipping it.
I'm gonna stop you right there because as you're sipping the blood from the teacup, you look up into the crowd and you actually see Doris sitting there with Father Merkel right behind her. And that's where I'll stop.